My name's Rafael, you watch Rock and Roll Garage, and today we're going to talk about what Bob Daisley said about Ozzy Osbourne's passing. But first, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave your comment. Well, if you're an Ozzy Osbourne fan, you probably know that Bob Daisley, the legendary Australian bassist and lyricist, worked with Ozzy extensively on his solo career. He, besides obviously the bass guitar, he was critical and crucial for the lyrics. He wrote most of the lyrics, although there was an agreement throughout Ozzy's solo career that all songs would be credited solely to him. Many guitarists reported that, like Jakey Lee, for example, who replaced Randy Rhoads. There are reports that Randy Rhoads' family had to claim the royalties to be paid, and etc. And the same thing happened with Bob. So there were some legal battles over the years that I'm going to talk about right after we read what he said about Ozzy. And this is what he said. He shared on his social media saying, "This is a sad day, and he has brought me to tears. What a reminiscence about Ozzy's and my times together. I think about the fun, the laughs, and of course what we created together musically, which will live much longer than these mortal bodies that we inhabit. My condolences to everyone who you've left behind. Ozzy, nothing can change the true friendship that we once had. I'll see you on the other side." And talking about more what was the legal battle between them, we gotta go back and talked about Daisley's part of the band. He was part of the band from 1979, before they released any albums, to 1981. So he was part of the first two Ozzy Osbourne albums, and then he returned from 1983 through 1985, also helping him especially on Bark at the Moon. And in 1988, he returned as a session musician, also from 1990 to 1991 as a session musician, and then from 1994 up to 1995. And after he left Ozzy's band, there were legal battles against Ozzy and his wife and manager Sharon to claim songwriting credits and royalties over the successful lyrics he wrote for most of Ozzy's successful records. In 2002, for example, Sharon called Rob Trujillo, the bassist, and Mike Breeding, the drummer, who were part of Ozzy's solo band, to re-record the bass and the drum tracks on Blizzard of Oz, the first album, and Diary of a Madman, the second one, in order to avoid paying Daisley and the drummer Lee Kerslake royalties. Eventually, the original versions were restored in later reissues. So as you can see, there were some really big legal battles between the two. They never collaborated again after the 90s. And it's sad, obviously. There was some bad blood between, maybe, I don't know if it's more about Ozzy or more about Sharon, who deals with the business. And it's sad that they didn't burn the hatchet before. It's interesting because Lee Kerslake also sued them with alongside Bob Daisley, because Lee was part of the first two albums as well. And not much before Lee passed away a few years ago, Ozzy sent him a golden record, and they kind of buried the hatchet between the two, but that didn't happen with Bob Daisley. And although those tracks were re-recorded, the drum tracks and the bass tracks were re-recorded in 2002, eventually the original versions were reissued, and what we hear today are the original versions. And I believe the royalties are probably going the right way. I don't know, but it's probably what happened. And as expected, we saw during the Back to the Beginning final show that Ozzy invited Jakey Lee to be part. He played on that farewell festival and show, not with Ozzy, but with supergroups, playing songs from his era of the band, from Ultimate Sin and Bark at the Moon. And the thing is, sadly, Daisley was not invited. You know, we can say that often when we talk about Ozzy's career, we tend to remember obviously Randy Rhoads, who was a monster, who, you know, those two first albums wouldn't have been the same without him. And then we recall J.K. Lee and Zakk Wylde, the guitarists, who are, you know, amazing, incredibles. But Daisley tends to be quite overlooked, and I think he was as important as them for Ozzy's solo career because he wrote most of the lyrics, which became some of his biggest hits. So it's sad that he, you know, they didn't bury the hatchet and they were close again. But you know, it would have been really incredible to see Bob Daisley there on that beautiful metal celebration, Ozzy and Black Sabbath celebration that happened a few weeks before Ozzy's death. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. It's interesting to talk about these two legendary musicians, and let's celebrate the music they did together, despite all these rifts between them. And if you want to read more about Ozzy, go to description, visit the article I wrote about this and about Bob Daisley, and let's talk about it, okay? Don't forget to like, leave your comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I see you later.